Hello learners, I'm Teacher Nan and welcome to another video lesson. Are you ready to learn some science ideas? Yes, that's awesome. In today's lesson, I will be sharing with you the topic about weathering. And at the end of this lesson, you will be able to define weathering, identify the two types of weathering, identify the agents of weathering, explain and describe how rocks turn into soil. What is weathering? Weathering is the breaking down of rocks into smaller fragments. It is an important process that helps shape the Earth's surface. The breaking of rocks results in the formation of soil and different landforms. This is also the reason we have amazing rock formations. What are the two types of weathering? Weathering can either be mechanical and chemical. Mechanical weathering is the physical wearing away of rocks. Examples of mechanical weathering include frost and salt wedging, unloading and exfoliation, water and wind abrasion, impacts and collision, and biological actions. All these processes breaks rock into smaller pieces without changing the physical composition of the rock. Chemical weathering. It involves a change in the composition of rocks that allows them break down into pieces. Chemical weathering happens when chemicals in rain and moving water react with rocks and minerals to change or weaken them. Chemical weathering causes chemical reactions within the rock and mineral itself. What are the agents of weathering? Water, wind, temperature, plants, animals, and humans. All of these causes rocks to break into pieces. How these agents of weathering breaks rock into pieces? Water. Water can break rocks in different ways. The strong waves hitting the rocks can make it break. Water can seep into the cracks of the rocks. When it gets colder, this water can expand and turn into ice. This triggers rocks to break as well. Wind. Wind is another agent of weathering that causes many beautiful formations. As the wind blows, it carries sand or small rock particles that scratch the rock surface. This can bring about mechanical weathering or physical weathering, which can also result to different rock formations. Temperature. When rocks are exposed to varying temperature, it expands. The repeated expansion and contraction of rocks due to changes in temperature results in weathering. Plants. Some plants like lichens, ferns, and mosses can also trigger weathering. It can grow on rocks and cause it to break into pieces. Eventually, metabolic or life process of these plants will cause the gradual breakage of rocks into smaller pieces. Trees can also trigger weathering. Its growing roots can break the cemented ground in search for more minerals in the soil. Animals. Animals that live underground also contribute to weathering. As burrowing animals dig deeper, they cause rocks to break into pieces. Humans. Humans also contributed to the weathering of rocks. Subdivision developers use a bulldozer to flatten mountains or heal to build houses. Some construction workers use jackhammer to break boulders of rocks as they repair roads. Mining companies extract stones or rocks from a quarry or an open pit mine. Some miners throw dynamites and other explosives on quarry sites to get more rocks or stones. This mining activity can trigger landslides. Let's check how much have you learned from our discussion. Read the statements and write the letter of the correct answer on a sheet of paper. It is the breaking down of rocks into smaller fragments. A. Erosion. B. Flooding. C. Runoff. D. Weathering. The answer is weathering. Item number 2. A type of weathering that involves change in the composition of the rock. A. Chemical weathering. B. Mechanical weathering. C. Both chemical and mechanical. D. None of the above. Answer: chemical weathering. Good job. Item number 3. What do you call the process by which the humans extract stones from the mountains for construction purposes? What do you call the process by which the humans extract stones from the mountains for construction purposes? A. Digging. B. Flattering. C. Weathering. D. Quarrying. The answer is quarrying. Very good. Item number 4. What will happen to a rock when it is exposed to low temperature? What will happen to a rock when it is exposed to low temperature? A. Contracts. B. Evaporates. C. Expands. D. Sinks. The answer is contracts. Very good. Item number 5. An open pit mine where rocks can be extracted is called what? A. Landfill. B. Open field. C. Reservoir. D. Quarry. The answer is quarry, letter D. Congratulations to those who are getting the 5 correct answers. That means you're ready for the next activity. It's experiment time. Let's explore. Mechanical or chemical? Science skills: observing, comparing, inferring, and communicating. Time frame of this activity is 30 minutes. You will need 2 pieces of chalk, hammer, 1 tablespoon of vinegar, piece of fine cloth. Here's the procedure on how to do the activity. Number 1. For setup A, get a piece of chalk and wrap it in a piece of cloth. Pound it using a hammer. Be extra careful in using hammer. Number 2. For setup B, get another piece of chalk and pour vinegar on it. Observe what will happen. Number 3. Compare the changes that happen to the 2 pieces of chalk. Number 4. Answer the questions below. A. What kind of change or transformation happened to the first piece of chalk? How about the second one? B. Based on the activity, how will you compare the 2 types of weathering? And if you are done answering this one, you may pass this activity or your answer of this activity to your teacher advisor. Do not forget to put the answer on a clean short bond paper. Let's summarize. The surface of the earth is continually changing. The process by which the rocks break into smaller fragments or pieces is called weathering. Weathering is mechanical if the rock was broken physically and chemical if there was a change in the chemical composition of rock. The factors that causes the weathering of rocks are called agents of weathering. The agents of weathering include water, wind, temperature, plants, animals, and humans. Great job! Thank you for watching. See you again in our next video lesson.